Seamus, what's going on, big fella? Where's that Suzo? Oh, there she is. That's Susie, the new pup. I suppose she's been on YouTube before. Anyway, it's Friday afternoon in Gyra, and it's the end of May. And this weekend, we're going to test out the old girl. We're going to take her for a ride to Bathurst and hopefully back over a couple of days. We've got a couple of people. It's actually a BMW K100 Forum ride, this one, for our old friend RossKo, who got cancer and died a few years ago, way too young. You know, he was just, I think, early 50s. Plenty of life in him, all that, you know. Happily married with kids, loved his K100s and Suzuki Katanas as well. Loved motorbikes, you know, like a lot of people do. Anyway, we're gonna see if we can get this old girl down there and back. That would be. We've got Dave and Rick showing up here this afternoon. They'll stay over the night here. Then in the morning, we'll head south down the New England Highway to about Muswellbrook. From there across to Denman, turn off near Sandy or just before Sandy Hollow and go down Bylong Valley Way, where we'll stop at the pub at Rost and stay overnight there, meet up with some other of the Beamer blokes, probably Gaz and whoever. Tom, Uli maybe as well. Not sure. Whoever shows up will show up. Anyway, so I'll be going on a BMW ride on a Harley. This is only acceptable because, you know, I've been a member of that group for a long time, and I do have a K100 up there in the corner there. That's in my unfinished project. It'll happen. Hopefully, have that finished by the end of the season, like by the end of the year for summer, that sort of thing. Now, we don't know how the old girl. We know it's slow. She's a slow girl at the moment. It's probably just because of that gearing. Needs either a tooth or two on the front sprocket or a tooth or two on the back, just to sort of lift it a bit. It's just geared a bit too tall for the. Because when Tim was riding it, mostly he was living in Western Australia, and they were long rides, long way between places, and they were sitting on high speeds, you know, 140, 150 from Kununurra across to Vic River and Darwin and wherever else they went. So it was geared pretty tall, is my thinking. As you can see, she's a lovely old girl. As you can also see, I've got camping gear set up on the back there because I'm not sure how I'll go on the way home. After we go to Rylstone, we'll head into Bathurst on the Sunday morning, where we'll go up to Mount Panorama Raceway and have a small toast to our mate RossKo and meet his wife and family there as well. After that, we'll have lunch somewhere and then go out to a place called Goolagong and stay at the pub there for the night. From there, it's a 620-odd kilometre ride home, which, Seamus, even you've started chewing bits of bark. What's the matter with these dogs? Which will be a long way for this girl. Really, it's an effective cruising speed right now between 90 and 100, roughly, with, you know, episodes up to 105 or 10 maybe. I'll get left behind by Dave and Rick tomorrow pretty quickly, I would think. In recent times, we've, with the help of my mate Mark and my mate Arby, Arby's got a shovelhead Harley, and Mark's got a new one, a Milwaukee 8 thing. But he's good with the tools. We pulled the carb off again and had a good look at it and turned the accelerator pump jet around because it was actually blowing fuel or squirting fuel straight into the air filter, so in completely the wrong direction. So turn that around, now it's spraying where it should. New air filter element as well. I got a new tyre from a place whose name escapes me right now. New back tyre the other day. Got it in the post. It's a hello, Suze. Hello, Suze. Yeah, hello, mate. She's a pup. She's not even 6 months old yet. She's quite mad. Quite mad. Anyway, got this Shinko, which is like a Firestone copy. Nice deep tread, 4-ply, nice flat profile as well, which should give us good contact patch on the road for the Sidecar. This bike's chain drive. It was originally belt drive, but Tim switched it back to a chain. I'm thinking so he could play around with the gearing. I think that's the main reason, probably. And probably easy to maintain up in the bush when you're doing long distances between towns. We put a new ignition coil on as well. That's solved the intermittent issues with it just stopping. It's always good when it doesn't just stop. The Sidecar, excuse me for a second. Get myself back up off the ground. The Sidecar is still a work in progress. I've got to work out something to do with this boot at the moment. I'm just taping down this cover, and I've got to try and get these. And I thought they were 15mm clips, but they're actually 17. So I've got to find some of them. They're not that easy to find, so I've got to find a motor trimmer, and that'll fix that problem. So what have we got? We've got 10 litres of fuel in there, because we don't know how far this bike's going to go between fuel stops once we get out in the country a bit. Though, of course, we're actually already in the country a bit, but you know what I mean. The ride down Viling Valley Way, I think there's one fuel stop. Anyway, I think, my estimation is we'll get at least 200 k's out of the tank. It's 5 US gallons, so that's about 19 litres, I think. So we're taking along the fuel just in case, essentially, because I've just come back on the Sunday or the Monday if there's no servos open. We've got some wet weather gear in there, and we've got some cold weather gear in here as well. That's my go-to jumper there. Kerry knitted for me a few years ago, which is brilliant. Bag of tools, of course. That's just the sort of, essential emergency cooking stuff, like a little jet boil thing, with some coffee and some beans and that kind of stuff. Up in the nose is a sleeping bag and another bag full of bits and pieces, like a length of fuel hose and just stuff like that for eventuality. Some COVID-19 masks, I think, is in there. So we may have to camp on the way home, depending on which way we go and how far we get in a day on this bike. 400k should be fine. 600k might be a bit far for her. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, in the meantime, we're pretty much ready to go. As usual, I'm usually ready a week before it's time to go, because I get overly enthusiastic and, start going over things. I've been over all the nuts and bolts, of course, for the Sidecar as well. Make sure that's all good, and it is all good. That's fine. So I'm assuming it's got a tendency to vibrate, and Sidecars vibrate as well. They tend to set up a resonance. It does on the drive anyway. And so we're pretty much right to go. And I've just got to whiz up to the roadhouse and fill up with fuel for the morning. I'll do that when Kerry comes home, or Rick or somebody comes home, comes to stay. There's the Triumph, still a work in progress there actually, as is the old Beamer. So I would have liked to normally I would like to ride this bike, of course, to the BM gathering, the old K100, but it's not finished yet. It's not that far away though. That Sidecar boat is in good condition, and the trouble is, now at this time of year, it's getting too cold to paint, so that'll have to wait till the spring. I can prepare it, but it'll have to wait till the spring to actually put top coats and stuff on it. And we've seen this before. The chassis, which is remarkable, it's just huge, and weighs about 4 tonnes. I'd love to be able to just find a DJP chassis and shove that boat onto one of those, which would be, you know, easy. It's pretty much the same kind of setup in a way. I mean, it's got the old torsion bar suspension set up there and stub axle. Anyway, we're rambling on pointlessly at this stage. This hasn't even been started for a long time. I don't know whether we've got any. No, we've got no. Battery's dead, so have to do that shortly before we get it running.